Hey guys, Khajiit here. I'm a professional Rainbow Six Siege player from India. I play for Deimos Force, and welcome to Ask the Pros, where a pro answers all your questions about your favorite games. Today I'm going to be talking about Rainbow Six primarily. Let's see how it goes. Question number 1 by Mohammad Hasnatuzzaman. Okay, a bunch of questions from someone who's bad at gunfights. I frequently get yelled at for my poor reaction speed at the game. I've played stealth and slow-paced games and not R6 type ones before. Been playing it since March. Any tips to improve attack? Should I queue solo in rank to learn strats? Okay, when you're playing attack, right, you have to know that intel is the most important thing on attack. You have to know where the defenders are playing, what areas they're practically holding, and how you're going to counter it. So intel, number 1, is key. And when it comes to solo queuing in rank to just learn strats, I'd say, solo queue is good to build your individual performance, give you like an edge when you're playing against other people, when you're alone in a firefight and you're like really lacking intel. Solo queue really helps in that case. But I'd always suggest, since this is a team game, I suggest you play with a team. Play with a set of friends. As long as you feel comfortable, as long as you've got communication going, everything's easy. Give me tips to hold corners and peeking. One thing I learned from watching others is to keep my line of sight thin. Any tips? And what are the most effective ways to hold coastline blue stairs? Alright, when you're holding a corner and peeking, okay, what you want to do as, suppose you're an attacker or a defender, it doesn't matter. But when you're holding an angle, you have to make sure that that angle is a pixel angle and that the line of sight the other person might get who's going to peek you, he shouldn't get an easy angle to hit or an easy shot to hit just because you're showing a wide part of your body. So I'd suggest hold a pixel angle. That makes it much easier. And when it comes down to holding the cool wipe stairs or the blue stairs on coastline, I'd suggest you always have barbed wires or Melusi's Banshee at the bottom of the stairs or the middle of the stairs, or even Lesion mines at the bottom of the stairs works really well. As long as you have that intel that somebody's going to push from there, you are ready to act on it. You already have that piece of intel and you can act on it however you want. You can either back off, you can attack, you can just push them. Up to you. How do I counter fast attackers from rushing? Lesion or Kapkan doesn't work with aware players. Okay, what you need to know is that you need to have like a general, idea or a general awareness of all the areas around the site that are exposed where, one of your teammates isn't holding that area. On most maps, the most likely rush route is stairs, any stairway. Having your gun aimed at one of these staircases in the early rounds, I think that's a little beneficial. At least it'll give you an idea if someone pushes, that's a dead body right in front of you. If nobody pushes from there, well, they're not rushing. What are some effective ways to play Ela and Lesion? When you're playing Ela or Lesion, the idea is to have your traps set up in high traffic areas where, attackers are most likely to come through or most likely to take control of. That way, once you have that Lesion mine going off or that Ela mine going off, you can either act on the intel instantly, have a C4 underneath them. In the case of Ela mines, the most likely thing to do is have somebody push the disoriented person. It is an effective tactic, works every time unless the person you're playing against is absolutely god tier. On the other hand, when you have Lesion mines, you can always have a C4 underneath the Lesion mine if you're dealing with soft floors, or you can push the Lesion mine guy. That works as well. Mohammad Aminur Rahman Imon. I need a gun, muzzle, scope and grip guide for guns in Rainbow Six Siege. Okay, for this, I'd suggest you take a look at the guide by this YouTuber called 5050. He's got a really in-depth guide about all the attachments in the game. I think it's fairly new, it's about 2 months old. So it's Shadow Legacy tier, but it's pretty effective. It's actually pretty good. Another question, personal preference question. I would like to ask, in according to your perspective, which weapon do you think right now is the strongest in the meta? I've really come to love the AK-12. Ace's AK-12 and Fuse's AK-12. They are absolute beast guns. They can just shred through armor like nothing. Abhishek Malik, did you ever reach Diamond? Yes, I was Diamond throughout year 2 and year 3 for the most part of it, and I just lost my hunger for ranked after that. Meditox, which operator do you hate the most? I had completely come to hate Melusi because all that Banshee wub, it really annoys you if you can't get rid of it early. It can just slow your pushes down, it can annoy you to the point where you just get peeked by a defender and just killed. Overall, yeah, Melusi, no. Anaf bin Raj, what is the secret to successful roaming in Siege and what's your favorite map? My favorite map is Oregon. And the success to roaming in Siege is hurting the attacker's economy on drones. Drones are the #1 way attackers can get intel. It's actually one of the only ways attackers can get intel. So if you hurt that drone economy, they won't be able to drone you. You can just run around the map if you want, if nobody's holding angles on you. Zakwan King, do you think attackers have it harder now that they have to clear so many gadgets before they can even reach the site? Evil Eyes, Yokais, Goyu Shields, Banshees, so much stuff to clear. Yeah, that's definitely true. Attackers do have a really hard time clearing outside, especially if there's so much utility being used to stop them or slow them down. Throughout, for the most part of this game, it was called Utility Burning Simulator. No kidding. Zarak Khan, in regards to Pro Siege, does everyone on the team have set roles like they do in other esports such as Dota and League have positions? Also, which role or position fits you the best? In Siege, it's you know, at the stage you play at, suppose at the Pro Stage, it is very important for you to have like a mastery on all operators or a massive operator pool. Set roles, it doesn't really matter if you have set roles, because at the level you're playing at, you need to be flexible at whatever operator picks you're having. Most of the times what happens is you have to go through different operator picks depending on the sort of meta you're running and the sort of operators you're playing against. So counter strategizing and getting an operator pick, make sure that you have to play that operator pretty well. Also, which role or position fits you the best? I personally, I'm a flex support player because it gives me much more, how do I put this, much more time to think about things that are going around the map, and that way I can control my teammates and I can slow them down if I want, if the push is going too fast, if the push is going too slow. I can control the pace of the game from our side. Sajid Ahmed, how can I roam better with Jaeger? I'd like some tips on him. Roaming with Jaeger, again, it's a fundamental that you have to destroy a lot of drones so people don't get a lot of intel on you. It's always good to be roaming in a duo with another roamer. That way you can hold crossfires, you can ask for help whenever you want if you're in a tight situation when you're getting pinched. What's the worst that can happen? A 1-for-1 trade? Still benefits the team. Fabir X Titan Rabi, what wanders in your mind when you're in a 1v1 situation? In a 1v1 situation, it's like you have to be confident that you're gonna win that firefight no matter what happens, and if you don't, you're pretty much screwed. Most of the time, that's what goes on in my head when I'm in a 1v1 situation. But when you're, in a team as good as this, you get all the intel you need, and the clutches are sometimes much easier than you think. Khondakar Ayman Kareem, how to improve game sense? The way you improve game sense is by garnering more experience in the game. The more experience you have playing a certain operator, playing in certain situations, you are conditioned to react in a certain way. Once you have that, have a basic idea of what the situation is going to bring you to. So suppose you're in a 1v1 situation, okay? Let's say we're playing Oregon. You're stuck in a 1v1 situation. There's a guy in Armory. You are holding the diffuser in the trophy room. The attacker is going to push you from the Armory hallway, and he's gonna have to pick you off because the time is like 10 seconds on the clock. So what are you gonna do? In that situation, you hold the diffuser. You hold an angle on the diffuser, wait for the attacker to come, just pick him off. Kind of the basic, but you get the gist of it. Overall, you start cultivating this ideology of how you are supposed to play the game according to yourself. You can either play hyper aggressively, you can play passively, you can have a mixture of the two. Basically, you gotta train more, you gotta just keep playing the game more. The game sense will come in time. You just have to play the game more. Mustafa Wasif Nihal, which attachments are perfect for recoil control and fire rate on each gun? So what I've noticed is throughout Siege, there's like a certain set of attachments on certain types of guns. Suppose you're using a DMR, okay? Using a muzzle brake on it is very effective. And when it comes down to submachine guns or let's say assault rifles, most of them have reduced recoil using a flash hider. If you want to increase your ADS time, I think you should go with an angled grip, but if you want that extra bit of stability, always go with a vertical grip. But flash hider and vertical grip, that's how it goes. How to remember callouts or locations on the map? It's pretty confusing, to be very honest. It'll be like most areas on the map can be associated with a certain color. Suppose you're playing coastline. Sunrise bar might be a pretty longer color. There's a lot going on there when you say sunrise bar. You can't say that pretty quick. So you can call it either red bar or orange bar. I'd say red bar because it's much shorter. It's always good if you watch Pro League games. That way you can learn callouts better from the casters. They know the pitch perfect callouts. So that's one way you can do it. And the final question, how to get better at quick peeking or corner shots? When you're quick peeking somebody, you have to be aware of the area you're going to be aiming at. So it comes down to your pre-aim. or your crosshair placement. Once your crosshair placement's good, you're gonna hit those corner shots like it's nothing. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Deimos Force, and if you want to see more professional players on the show, be sure to like, share and subscribe to this channel. This was Khajiit from Deimos Force, and I enjoyed answering all your questions. Stay tuned and see you guys later.